right, and welcome back to another great edition of Maxin TV, a business podcast for entrepreneurs. And boy, do we have an entrepreneur for you. Aryeh Rephun from Aryeh Co, a custom jewelry designer and company in New York City. Aryeh, thank you so much for joining.
Of course, my pleasure. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anyways, why don't you tell people a little bit more about what you do in your company?
Yeah, so I started the company in 2018. We're a diamond and jewelry company. We specialize in custom design. We do bridal work as well, so we'll do engagement rings, eternity bands, stuff like that. But one of our primary focuses is custom design pieces. A lot of times, these are designs by our customers that they come up with, and we just help bring them to life. We have a design team that sits with them and brainstorms, and we try to make meaningful jewelry for people. You know, bringing that luxury experience to them with a touch of something personal as well.
Yeah, and from my understanding, you did you did a few celebrities. I believe you made some pieces for Diddy and his crew, right?
Yeah. So we actually made 4 pendants for the Revolt team, which is one of Diddy's companies.
Yeah.
That was great. That was fun. It was great to work with them. We've worked with a couple other artists as well, some athletes, but on a day-to-day basis, we're serving the typical family or couple that's just looking to buy or make a beautiful gift for one of their loved ones.
Yeah. I do have to ask, how did you get that Diddy account, quote unquote?
So we had done some work with a mutual friend, and so the Revolt team was having an anniversary. They were having an event where they wanted to gift some of their top media personalities with gifts, and our friend put us in contact, and I started working directly with Donnie West, who's the chief creative officer of Revolt, and so him and I came up with the concept with the pieces, and we made them happen.
That's very cool. And did anything come out of that? Because obviously he's a very well-known name, and I'm sure a lot of people saw his chain. Did you get a lot of business from that?
So it's hard to gauge, what level of direct business came from that specific job, but definitely for the brand, it gave us a little bit of a boost, some good notoriety, some recognition in markets that we hadn't really tapped into yet. So overall, it was definitely great for the brand, which is really important. And yeah, I mean, for our existing customer base, I'm sure, it was something that they were able to appreciate as well.
Just looking at you, obviously, you say you shouldn't be judgmental, but I absolutely am judgmental. Like, you seem like a guy that I would buy jewelry from. You don't seem like the classic, like, super shady jewelry dealer with like the pinky ring and the hair coming out of the zoo. You know what I mean? Like, you look like an upscale guy, like who runs a legit, like super legitimate high-end business.
I appreciate that. I mean, there's definitely some stereotyping when it comes to jewelers or the jewelry industry. This is a brand I started on my own, and I really tried to make sure that it's reflecting who I am as a person, and that our team is on the same page. And a big part of the luxury diamond jewelry industry is being able to know who you're dealing with. Knowing your jeweler, you're spending a lot of money a lot of the time, so you want to be able to work with someone trustworthy and reliable. So we do our best to try to maintain that.
100%.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you even got into the business? Was your family in the business, or did you go to school for this, or how exactly you started 3 years ago, correct?
So yeah, so we started we started in like 2018, 2019. I was before then I worked for a retail chain. It's not a family of mine, but I had a friend working for them, and that kind of got my foot in the door. We were doing manufacturing for the retail stores. So we had an office in New York. The stores were outside of New York. And over time, I built a good connection with diamond dealers, with other wholesalers and vendors, jewelry designers, jewelers. And it got to the point where I felt like as I was building up my own private client base, I was able to, leave and start my own brand.
That's amazing. But how did you even like your first? Was that your first job, or like going straight that you were working for a jewelry manufacturer?
No, so I had gotten jobs throughout college. I was always working full time in college. I liked that hustle mentality, and I was doing classes at night, working full time during the day. So I had done some real estate work. I was working at an advertising agency. It was kind of as opportunities came up, I decided, what was interesting to me, what I thought I could be successful in. I definitely liked the advertising industry, but I think what it all came down to was that I didn't really like working for someone else. So every job I went to, I
Amen
had
to
that same
that.
issue.
Amen
Exactly.
to
I'm sure
that.
you know the feeling. Yeah.
I definitely do. Yeah, hate bad bosses, and there's nothing like working for yourself. So it's very interesting that to be in a business such as yours, it's a very flashy business, but you personally are not a very flashy person. How does your personality, first of all, did I get that correctly? And secondly, if I did, how does that correlate into your business? Because, especially want to get the brand name out, you wear your own jewelry. I don't see you wearing like giant Revolt diamond necklaces or anything like that.
Yeah. So it's a good point. I've had moments or phases where I did feel like I had to get a little flashier. But personally, I wear a watch, I'll wear a chain, but I am more low key by nature. And I kind of did want to be behind the scenes. It's Aryeh Co is a brand in and of itself. Obviously, it's named after me, but I didn't necessarily want to be the face of the brand, on a day-to-day basis. And since I'm more of a behind-the-scenes type of guy, I just it's not it doesn't come naturally to wear anything too flashy. I definitely can appreciate it, and anytime I see anybody wearing a nice piece of jewelry, it's definitely something I could comment on and appreciate. But for myself, I like to be a little bit more low key, definitely. But
I
I'm
hear
still
that.
able to, have those close relationships with customers. So we have a lot that we could relate, I could relate to with them on. So it works out okay.
I love that. It's all about the customer. And so, why don't you tell us a little bit about, trials and it's very, very difficult to start a business. In fact, the odds are very much against you. And usually, 3 years is usually where if you can last after 3 years, you're good. It seems like you've done that. What were the major challenges coming up from starting your business where you're at now that you had to deal with and how you overcame them?
Yeah, definitely. Even today, every day feels like you're in the trenches. You got to make things happen. I would say one of the primary challenges, and it still is something that you have to continuously work on, is relationships with wholesalers and vendors and other companies in the industry that have been around for a long time. It used to, it still is, but it used to be more of a handshake type industry and business. Um, and when you're a new company, a new brand coming up, you're walking into someone's office and trying to build a relationship and work with them in a business where you're dealing with a lot of valuable merchandise. You know, getting your foot in the door and building that relationship where designers and established wholesalers and diamond dealers trust you from day one. That's definitely a challenge, and I would say that's something that we're continuing to work on so we can be able to have as many resources as possible for the brand.
Right. Is that for more of as far as getting your merchandise from, like the diamonds itself or gold, silver, such as that, or to also on the flip side, do they also resell your stuff, or do they give a good word into somebody else? Does it work both ways, or only one way essentially?
So it's more of a one way where they're either wholesalers, they're not selling retail at all. So they'll have designs that no one else really gets access to, and they sell through us. And then there are casting houses, jewelers, diamond dealers that are also wholesale. They're supplying the inventory to us, but at the same time, they have to trust us, with their merchandise, with other financial, relationships and responsibilities that goes that go into, having a business relationship with someone. So when I walk in somewhere now, people know the brand a little better, but in the beginning, they didn't know who I was at all, and I'm trying to let them. I'm trying to have them be able to give me their diamonds, give me their jewelry, and feel comfortable with it in my possession. Trusting I have the customer base for it. It's a lot. It's definitely it's a very tight knit industry.
Right.
So that's definitely a challenge.
And reputation is everything, as they say. I believe the saying was, it takes a lifetime to build up a reputation, but 5 minutes to destroy it. It's very, very difficult because, again, yeah, diamonds are very expensive. So relationship building seems to be like the most important in the jewelry business. I did see, and you can talk, you definitely, you for sure know about this, but I was watching a show, with Marcus Lemonis on CNBC, and he's the host of The Prophet, but he also goes into, I think he started another show, and he was going into the behind the scenes of the Diamond District in New York City, and he said there's like this like penthouse, like the top floor somewhere, where essentially like 80% of all diamonds are traded there. You need to be patted down. You need to like know somebody. You have to give a blood type. It's easier to get into the White House than it is to get into here. Are you aware of it? Like, is this something that's known, and are you able to get in there?
So I am aware of I believe what he's referring to. Yeah, there definitely it is kind of like its own world once you get onto 47th Street, the Diamond District. And yeah, I would say anywhere that we need to gain access to be able to see a certain inventory or finished jewelry, diamonds, whatever it may be. For the most part, that hasn't been an issue yet. But there are some offices that have been around for 50 years, 60 years, and since they're family businesses, it could be difficult to build that relationship with them. Just because they're a little bit more old school, you can say. They're not as hungry for the business. They're not necessarily trying to grow their company anymore. They're kind of content with where they are. So there are some elite circles, definitely, and hopefully, we wouldn't have a problem, getting it if we needed to. But on a day-to-day basis, it isn't really something that.
Yeah,
really
you see like Hasidim walking in and out, literally with like $6 million of diamonds just in their pockets, like no security, nothing. It's really funny. Yeah. So how has it?
Yeah, everyone
right.
wonders what's in those jackets, but
I'm sure you'll find a half-eaten sandwich as well, etc. But so has marketing been, because there's a lot, if you walk it, obviously in the Diamond District, there's more than one diamond dealer, there's more than one diamond store. It can be, I would assume, be very overwhelming for people. How do people find you, and has that also been a challenge as far as the marketing side?
We don't have a retail presence. We share an office, pretty small. We use that mostly for private clients that want to come in and look at diamonds, or we need to sit down with them and brainstorm on design ideas. But marketing and advertising is everything for us, because we're 100% online in terms of where we're actually promoting the business. So on a day-to-day basis, we don't really have much to do with the actual retail jungle that is 47th Street. And the fact that we're able to do things online is great. At the same time, customers do want to see the diamonds and merchandise in person. They want to know what they're getting. They want to feel it out. So that's why we have the office where they can sit with us and we can meet and discuss everything. But our marketing is almost 100% done, online.
So So do you pay for any advertising? Do you pay for any advertising? And once someone lands on your website, like they're able to customize their own jewelry that way? Is it because if you want fully customized, it could be very difficult, I assume, right?
Yeah, so they would go on our site. They can schedule a phone call or an in-person meeting with our designers through the site, but definitely the actual brainstorming and design and the sending of pictures back and forth, that's all something that's done offline. Personally, the customers are able to deal one-on-one with a designer. A lot of times I'll even sit in, just to make sure that everyone's on the same page, because we want them to be fully happy with the product and with what they had in mind. So it's hard to do that online by yourself. You definitely need to sit with somebody and have a designer. Everything's digital. It's on a computer. They have a computer-assisted design program. So, you need someone to sit down with you and kind of go through the images and
Right.
design.
And have not just an Instagram, but a fairly impressive Instagram account. I believe you have over 10,000 followers currently, but I'm always enamored by your videos on what it really takes to make a custom piece. It's mind-boggling what actually goes into it. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the actual process on your end.
Sure, yeah, it's definitely is fascinating. So we'll get a picture in from a customer. It can be something they drew up on a piece of paper. It could be something they saw online that they want to, put their own personal touch on. But they'll send us an image. We have a design team that sits at the computers, and they're the ones that actually will replicate and draw up that image on with the computer assisted program. And once they have the CAD images, the renderings, we'll show those to the client. They'll be able to get an idea of they'll be able to see if that's the design or what they had in mind. Once they approve the actual image, they're able to make adjustments if they want to. Then once the image is approved, we'll print out a wax mold of the piece. That way they can hold it in their hand. They can see the actual real life size of the piece. They could try it on them, just to get an idea of how the size works with them. Once that's approved, we then will send it to casting, which is turning that mold into the 14 karat gold color of their choice. And then if it includes diamonds, we'll have to source the diamonds. We'll have to sort through each of them to make sure all the diamonds are the correct sizes, everything matches up in quality. And then we'll bring the metal and the diamonds to the jeweler, who will sit at the bench and actually polish the piece, set all the stones, polish it again, and then finally it's done. So it's quite the process, but it's definitely cool.
If I was a customer, I would want to see like the full, like actually be there when they do it. Is that even possible, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It takes about 10 days. So if you have 10 free business days where you want to sit in, but we also can send videos to the client, throughout the process. That's what we do. Sometimes they care. Sometimes they're just like, okay, thanks.
That's awesome.
But we'll send it anyways, just so they can see. But it definitely, it adds a really nice element to the whole process, because it's just a different feel than just going into a store and buying something. You don't know how long that's been sitting there. You don't know why it's there. It could have been sold back from a customer. It could have been just something that never sold. It's nice to have something fresh, and you see what goes into making it.
Essentially, it's like if I saw the way something is made, that's made for me, it would mean that much. It essentially becomes a priceless item. That's my humble opinion, but I would assume so, right?
Exactly, and that's what we're going for. It's definitely, from our point of view, also, it's definitely really enjoyable to be able to get custom orders, and we're always excited when we do it.
There's specific, like if I, let's say, came in, I want like 24 karat gold, like a $6 million piece. Is that it? Why specifically 14 and 18 as opposed to the 24, or is it just about having the wholesale relationships, I guess, to be able to get that?
14 is less expensive, but also with a lot of jewelry, 14 karat is preferable because it's harder. The higher you go in the carat, the more pure the gold is, which it makes it a little bit softer. So 14 is mixed with a couple other metals, which just actually it makes it more preferable, to be used in certain jewelry. There's platinum also. Platinum is strong, so for engagement rings, eternity bands, people do prefer platinum sometimes. They'll either want 14 karat or platinum. Platinum is more for like diamond rings. That's where we'll make
Right.
it.
Okay. It's amazing how much you know about this stuff. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
There's a
It's a,
small diamond
so
district
if
there.
people want to find you and
Yeah.
they're interested in buying a ring or a necklace, how do they contact you?
So they can go online. Our contact information is at aryehco.com. And we have our Instagram, which is where we're most active. We're on every social media platform: Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, like I said. So all our contact information is on each of those platforms. And we have a pretty quick response rate, so they can definitely reach out there. We're continuing to build the brands, and you can kind of see the progress over the last couple of years, even if you scroll down on our Instagram. Just the quality of the photos, the videos, the content. We're always trying to improve that and trying to connect with the customer base and with people online. So we're always open to feedback on anything we post, any piece of jewelry we make. We're always here for questions and for any feedback from customers.
Aryeh, I really appreciate you coming on. This was a great interview, and I wish you
Exactly.
continued success on the entrepreneurship journey.